Hi, I'm Priscilla Wallace. I am with Compass Group. I work for the food buy sector. I'm over the Supplier Diversity Program, and I'm also a board member of the Latin American Chamber of Commerce. So, here today, I want to spend a little time, the next few minutes, talking to Omar, and Omar is going to share a few things about himself with us. But I got a question for you. Omar, when you're telling us about yourself, tell us a little bit about the organization you represent, what this period has been like for you, and just tell us about what have you been facing lately.
Thank you, Priscilla, and thank you to the Latin American Chamber of Commerce for having this conference virtually. It's very important that they're keeping everyone communicated as to what's happening in the community with the business environment. So my name is Omar, Omar George. I'm with Compare Food Supermarkets here in Charlotte. We have 6 locations. We do a lot of international foods. We import a lot of products, and our business is to serve the Latin American community with their food. So we're very proud to do that. We've been in Charlotte since 2004, and I have been running the Charlotte region since 2009. So I've got a lot of experience in supermarkets and working in retail and providing food for the Latin American community here in Charlotte.
Awesome. All right, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, I must say I have went into Compare Foods, and I'm always amazed at some of the fruits and different products on the shelf. Just such a large variety of items to choose from. And I'm so glad that you're here in Charlotte. I'm so glad you're in this market. And it's so needed, especially with some of the things that we're facing in this world. So tell us now, share your experience in leading Compare Foods during this time of uncertainty. And truly, from day to day, there is so much uncertainty. And also, how are you managing? How are you handling all the new challenges right now?
It was definitely a difficult experience. It came suddenly out of the blue. I can say that we were not prepared for it. Like I don't think anyone was prepared for it. The one good thing about us specifically at Compare Foods is that we're part of a larger family, and our larger family has 24 stores everywhere from Massachusetts down here to North Carolina. So we were able to learn about what was happening with COVID much earlier on than maybe some other retailers were, because we were piggybacking off of the experience in New York and Massachusetts and Connecticut, where COVID hit harder earlier. So we took a lot of the things that we were learning up there in the Northeast and bringing it down to North Carolina before they were required here. So we were the first supermarket in Charlotte to require or to put in hours for senior citizens and people who are immunocompromised. We were the first supermarket in Charlotte to require masks and gloves from all of our employees to make sure that they were safe. We began sanitizing the stores very quickly to make sure that any trace of anything would not be there. And then I worked closely with the state and different organizations to kind of give ideas, right? And say, this is how we should implement a limit on people coming into the store to make sure that we can maintain social distancing. We put up plexiglass all throughout all of our cashiers registers so that people would not breathe directly on the cashiers. And we've done that around the store. So we've taken a lot of steps, and we had to learn very quickly what the methods were to try and minimize the risk of transmission inside the supermarket. Being an essential business, we're not able to close. What we need to do is minimize the risk of anybody getting sick in our stores, starting with our employees and obviously our customers. And we were able to do that very early on before a lot of other people were taking it seriously.
That is absolutely awesome. And sometimes that's what we don't hear. That's what's not in the media. And it's so important, all the different steps. And the thing about COVID-19 is we have all had to pivot without a moment's notice. We've had to make the necessary adjustments, and it's constantly changing. And I'm very sure that, especially, I was so happy to hear that there are special hours for the senior citizens so that they could be comfortable shopping And even with the plexiglass, who would have ever thought that our world would change so quickly and we would need a plexiglass, a mask, the gloves, everything just changed. So it seems like to me, you have defined what success looks like. You defined that already for us, and I'm sure that your customers appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit more about your employees. What have you been able to do to promote a feeling of safety among your employees, your customers, and your patients, and different people that come in the store? Now, I know that you've done the necessary things required by law for it to do, but how are you giving them that extra special touch when it comes to interacting? Because before, you used to come in, shake hands, give a hug,
Right.
see someone that you know, but people need to be reaffirmed, and just kind of share with us how you've done that within your organization.
Well, communication is really important. I think that if you're able to effectively communicate and let people know why measures are being taken, that
Right.
takes away a lot of the fear, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
instead of just making decisions and kind of enforcing and saying this is what you now have to do, we have conversations and we tell them the reason we're implementing this new policy is because X, Y, and Z. So for example, when we implemented mandatory masks for all of our employees, we had a lot of employees that were kind of resisting that. And we had to talk to them in a way and explain to them, look, this is how this is transmitted. We're trying to do this to keep you safe. You're dealing with hundreds or thousands of people every single day. So it's very important for you to keep safe, because you don't want to go home with the virus infection that you picked up here in the store. So please, out of your own safety, not just because we're telling you to do it, but thinking about your own safety, start wearing the mask. And that went a long way towards getting compliance. And that is still ongoing, right? That's not a process that ends. So lately, what we've been doing is finding the locations that are doing the free screenings and letting them know, here are the locations, here's a list of locations that have free COVID-19 screenings this week. Please go and get tested, right? Even if you don't have any symptoms, right? Because we made it very clear from the beginning, any employee with any symptom whatsoever is to stay home. They're not to come into the store. But you still have the possibility of asymptomatic carriers, people that have the virus but who have no visible symptoms. So what we've done is told those employees, the ones that are healthy, that seem like they're perfectly fine and that can work, just go and get tested. It takes 5 to 10 minutes. You get your results in about 24 to 48 hours. And that way, you know for sure that you're not transmitting it to anyone else. So we've encouraged that in our employees. We've made sure that they're following it. And also with the clients, with our customers, we are now trying to get enough masks to be able to give them out for free at the entrance. So we have a lot of customers. It's very difficult to be able to source that many masks. We are working with different suppliers to try and not require masks when you go in. But if you don't have one, we'll be able to provide you one for free so that you're also able to put it on. Because it seems that the best way to prevent the transmission of the virus is through mask wearing and distance. So we're trying to continue to promote that within the store.
Awesome. So I have this quick question. Are you selling out of the mask? Are you selling out of everything? You can stock your shelves.
Yeah. We are selling a lot, but we also have a lot more expenses. It's not cheap to disinfect the store as often as we're doing it. It's not cheap to buy all of this equipment. So even though the sales have been very strong, there's been issues with the supply chains, as everybody knows, with toilet paper and paper towels and Lysol and bleach. It's really been very difficult to find. We've had to go to foreign distributors and bring them into the country because the domestic ones just didn't have it anymore. So there have definitely been challenges, but you just have to keep adapting and finding solutions and moving forward.
Awesome. I totally agree. Omar, you truly exude the true characteristics of a leader. And I like the way that you're, educating your employees and helping them understand that this is not just for everybody else. This is also for you to protect yourselves, and just sharing the information and consistently reminding them to go get tested to make sure that they stay safe. So my question to you, what is your message for the future with everything still being so uncertain? And how would you recommend the community or businesses to continue to move forward and make progress during this time?
I think that being open-minded is very important. I think that listening to experts is very important, and recognizing that this is a new challenge for everyone. Um, none of us really have a playbook or a guide on how we should react to different things that are coming up. So we're all making the best educated guesses and decisions as to how we should move forward. So, I see a lot of criticism that, well, the information that you gave us 3 weeks ago is no longer valid. Well, yeah, because science changes as you get more evidence, right? So I think that being able to adapt, being open-minded, being flexible, and also trying to come up with the best solution possible, and maybe just taking a breath before criticizing someone else that's trying to do their best as well. I think we're all making decisions with the best intentions, and sometimes they might not be correct, and we learn more information later on that's going to improve our decision making in the future. So, giving each other the benefit of the doubt, being a little bit more patient, also continuing to be vigilant is very, very important. Wearing your mask every time you're in public, maintaining your social distance, ensuring that you're always thinking of your safety and your family's safety and the community's safety before you do anything.
Awesome. Awesome. Such good words of wisdom, such good words about the future. All right. So I just got one more question, because you seem to be someone with a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge. And I just feel that so many people are going to gravitate to your messaging that you're sharing with us today. So do you have any words of wisdom that you would share with those that are watching? Because we're living in a different time. And as much as we try to embrace fear, it still exists.
Of course.
It still exists because there's so many uncertainties, and social media news doesn't help it at all. But what would you tell people that are watching? What words of wisdom that they can hold on to, gravitate to, and just know that, it's going to be another day, another tomorrow?
I think that focusing on the experts is very important. And what's helped me personally is not just in the US, but seeing what experts around the world are saying, right? So you have lots of countries, every single country on the planet is going through this same situation. Yeah. So sometimes, yeah, everyone's going through this, it's not just us. Seeing what the British health system is saying, right, and how they've reacted, seeing what the French health system, the Chinese health system, just looking. The great thing about the internet is, like you said, social media, if you focus just on Twitter and Facebook, you might go a little, it gets difficult, right? But
emotions with it.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you expand the options of what you're bringing in, of the information that you're reading, beyond social media, the internet is a wonderful tool, because you can find academic articles and medical journal articles about how to react to this virus and how it's transmitted. That's how I determined to do the masks so early on. So while the CDC was still saying not to wear masks because it wasn't necessary, I was reading information from other parts of the world that's saying we're seeing that wearing masks is actually helping us a lot in not getting the disease. So that's why I put them on so quickly to my employees. Even we were criticized by some people saying, well, you shouldn't be using masks because nobody's telling you to do so. It's like, yeah, I know they're not telling me to do so, but I'm keeping educated on what the experts around the world are saying, and that's going to help my decision making at a very local level. So I think that's the important thing is to just, like I said, maintain an open mind and look for those resources.
Oh, I totally, totally agree. Yes, resources. We have to be educated. We have to go and get the knowledge. We have to do it. It's so very important. And Omar, I have enjoyed spending time with you today. I've enjoyed our conversation, our chat. That's what I call it, our chat session. And it's just been a true pleasure getting to know you, getting to know more about Compare Foods, and looking forward to future dialogue. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Priscilla. It's been a pleasure.